Hey guys, and what is up? It's your boy Tise here. Earlier this year I've gotten really into a game called Sleeping Dogs, and ever since I started playing it, I've really been enjoying my time with the game. And I want to talk about how great the game really is. So in today's video, I'll be reviewing Sleeping Dogs. Anyway, without further ado, let's get right into the review. Sleeping Dogs is a game that borrows the gameplay formula of the GTA games, but does its own spin on things, resulting in it being something really special. Developed by United Front Games and released in 2012, Sleeping Dogs is an open world action-adventure game in the style of GTA. Though unlike the GTA games, Sleeping Dogs is set in Hong Kong, and it also has a very heavy emphasis on hand-to-hand combat. Sleeping Dogs has a really fascinating story. In the game you take the role of Wei Shen, an undercover cop working for the Hong Kong police, as he infiltrates a notorious triad known as the Sun On Yee, with him becoming a member of the triad and slowly working his way up the ranks from a foot soldier to a leader, in order to dismantle the triad from the inside. As you move on up in the Sun On Yee, you'll grow closer with other triad members, have frequent skirmishes with enemy triads as well as rival members within your own triad, witness horrific events, and question your own loyalty and morality as you become more of a triad member than a cop. Sleeping Dogs' story is also told through well-made in-game cutscenes with solid character animation and superb voice acting. In the main story missions of Sleeping Dogs, you'll be doing work for the Sun On Yee as well as occasionally doing police investigations, with these missions entailing the usual GTA antics of driving from place to place, committing crimes and getting into gunfights. Though unlike GTA, Sleeping Dogs focuses heavily on hand-to-hand combat, with a fleshed out fighting system that's both really fun and easy for anybody to get into. The combat is a simple affair of timing your punches, combos, grabs and counter-attacks correctly in order to fight enemies effectively. And as you progress in the game and face tougher enemies, you'll also be able to learn new moves by returning to the game's dojo with easily found collectibles, with the new moves that you can unlock being really helpful and feeling good to execute. On top of fighting enemies hand to hand, you can also use environmental hazards to your advantage to quickly deal with enemies in very gruesome ways, which you can do by simply grabbing them and dragging them over to highlighted objects, resulting in you pulling off some very deadly executions. Although the hand-to-hand combat of Sleeping Dogs is great, the gunplay on the other hand is the weakest part of the game. To me, it just feels like a worse version of the gunplay from the Uncharted games, with aiming that feels more stiff and less smooth. Though there is a slow motion mechanic whenever you vault over obstacles, which I find quite satisfying to use. Sometimes during Sleeping Dogs story missions, you're required to do some small minigames, like hacking security cameras, unlocking doors and planting bugs in rooms. These minigames are pretty finicky, though they don't take too long to do and are usually out of the way quickly. Sleeping Dogs also has some RPG mechanics, with Wei Shen having a cop and triad level, which can be leveled up by getting a good cop and triad score in each story mission, with those scores increasing or decreasing depending on the actions you commit during the missions, and leveling up both levels will grant you new perks and bonuses. There's also another level, being the face level, which you level up by doing certain side activities, like doing favours for people and partaking in street races. And these are also worth doing since you need a high face level in order to buy certain outfits from shops that help you level up your cop and triad levels faster, as well as give you discounts on clothing and vehicles. As well as earning upgrades by leveling up Wei's levels, you can also upgrade his health by locating health shrines and praying at them. For every few health shrines you pray at, Wei's health will increase a little bit, with you also being able to double his overall health by praying at every health shrine in the game. Sleeping Dogs does an excellent job of recreating Hong Kong in video game form, with several different areas that feel distinct from one another, streets usually being packed with cars and pedestrians, and you can feel a great sense of culture from things like the food stalls you'll often see on the sidewalks, the idle chit-chat of pedestrians, and the many neon signs that make the game's suburbs look really pretty at night time. And although the open world of Sleeping Dogs is rather small compared to that of other open world games like the GTA games, the game does make great use of its entire map, with main story missions and side activities taking place all throughout the game's recreation of Hong Kong, as well as lots of collectibles being spread all over the map. In terms of getting around this virtual recreation of Hong Kong, you can catch a cab and fast travel across the map for a small fee, or you can drive yourself around in the game's many vehicles that handle like a dream, thanks to their easy controls, tight steering and drifting, and they also have very little input lag. I've already talked a little bit about the side content in this game, but Sleeping Dogs offers plenty of side activities to do outside of the main story missions. As well as doing favours for people and taking part in street races, these side activities also include doing cop jobs and drug busts, special DLC missions which come free with the definitive edition of the game, fighting at martial arts clubs, doing jobs for side characters, a karaoke minigame, and more. And doing some of these side activities will also help you to level up Waste Cop, Triad and Face levels. Aside from the main game, Sleeping Dogs also has a few expansions that come with their own stories which, like the special DLC missions, also come free with the definitive edition of the game. These expansions are alright, but they're certainly no Undead Nightmare from Red Dead 1, and they are not as good as the main story of the game. In terms of presentation, Sleeping Dogs looks great for a 7th gen game, and its open world looks stunning for the time. Audio wise, the game's sound effects are alright, and the soundtrack is pretty stellar, with it containing a mix of traditional Chinese music and electronic tunes, as well as plenty of popular licensed tracks. All in all, Sleeping Dogs is an amazing open world game that borrows the formula of the GTA games, while also doing its own thing with its fascinating cop drama story, its fun and accessible hand-to-hand combat system, and its brilliant video game rendition of Hong Kong. Sleeping Dogs is an easy recommendation from me if you're into open world games like the GTA games. So yeah, that was my review of Sleeping Dogs, an amazing open world game that I'd probably place up there among my top 10 most favourite games. Anyway guys, thank you for watching my video, I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed watching the video, then I'm glad you enjoyed watching it as well. Anyway, I'll see you all later in the next video. Peace out guys.